Okay, traders, Q4 earnings will have a very big week in the week ahead as we have some very important names coming up. The likes of Boeing, the likes of Tesla, IBM, Meta, Caterpillar, another one. But the big names like Apple and Microsoft will be in the spotlight. You see, both of these two names, Microsoft and Apple, have very large weightings in the major indices. If you take a look at Microsoft, close to 6% in the S&P, close to 11% in the NASDAQ, and close to 9% in the Dow. Similar for Apple, 6% in the S&P, 11% for the NASDAQ, and 4% for the likes of the Dow. Now, these weightings are very important to understand because it means that earnings for these names don't just matter for these single stock names, but a massive surprise in either one of these heavyweights can impact things like the S&P, the NASDAQ, as well as the Dow. And there is some additional excitement with both the likes of the S&P and the NASDAQ, a stone throw away from prior all-time highs going into earnings. Now, let's quickly talk charts. I mean, heading into earnings, Apple is currently down 14% or close to it from prior all-time highs, sitting just 2.7% above that 200-day moving average. Now, the options market is implying about an 8% move on the week, with key options barrier resistance sitting at 232, as well as key support sitting at 213. There's also some noticeable call buying activity sitting at that 230 strike. Then in terms of Microsoft, we're currently trading about 7% higher from prior earnings and about 5% above that 200-day moving average. We also have options markets implying about a 6% move on the week. And we can see that key options barrier resistance sitting at 450, as well as key support sitting at 425, which is also very close to that 200-day moving average. We also have some very interesting, noticeable put buying activity at that 405 strike, which might be more downside protection from current longs. Now, as always, the focus for these earnings won't just be on the actual Q4 EPS and revenue numbers, but there will also be a lot of focus on the 2025 guidance provided by these companies. And traders will be keenly watching for key focus themes right now, like inflation, like AI, and obviously the potential tariff impacts, if any, that some of these companies sees in terms of forward EPS and revenue growth. As always, these big names can have a huge impact. So as always, stay nimble and trade safe.